in our championship full contact karate kickboxing here at the Calneva Lodge. I would like to bring out in red gloves, Rod Key from Seattle, weighing 128 pounds. Rod Key. Rod's goal tonight is to beat Dave Johnston, who is the world champion in the super featherweight division. Let's bring out now from Albuquerque, New Mexico, our world champion, Dave Johnston, weighing 132 pounds. Our first bout of the main event, 7 rounds, each round 2 minutes long. Dave Johnston in the blue pants, Rod Key in the black.
Yes, he is. Dave Johnston is a knockout specialist with his feet. I've seen him fight several times, and he sets his opponents up with his hands and knocks them out with his feet. Very effective kicker.
Rod Key, not particularly as an experienced boxer as Dave Johnston, but it should be an interesting bout nonetheless.
Right, Rod Key is a young fighter, and because he's not very experienced, he's got nothing to lose out here. Dave Johnston, on the other hand, has got a long career of wins. He's got the world title, and he's going to be a little bit more laid back, a little bit more methodical in his fighting. Rod Key will probably come out like gangbusters.
So Dave Johnston, a man who's a patient fighter, likes to use his feet a lot. We'll see how he does with his fist tonight as he goes against Rod Key.
As you can see, Rod Key's got a very powerful upper body.
Very well developed. Rod Key again in the black slacks, Dave Johnston in the blue. Dave Johnston from New Mexico. Rod Key from Seattle. A nice roundhouse and landing very well against Rod Key.
Right, I've seen Dave Johnston knock fighters out with that roundhouse, so he's probably just feeling out Rod Key at this point.
This is a super featherweight division, 7 rounds. Don, one thing we haven't talked about yet tonight, as we are boxing up in Lake Tahoe, is the altitude factor in these fighters.
Right, they seem to be getting fatigued out here a little earlier than they're used to.
We're close to 6,000 feet here at the Calneva Lodge. And in the longer bouts that we have, the 7 and 9 rounders, the altitude definitely will play a factor. A nice roundhouse again.
Back leg roundhouse kick.
Rod Key responding. Both boxers very, very good kickers. Back spin kick.
That's the kick I was talking about. That's the hard kick that if it lands, the lights go out. Dave Johnston doesn't seem to be as patient as we thought he was going to be in this fight.
He's definitely going after Rod right away.
Right, he's throwing the bomb.
Pretty even bout so far, I'd say, Don.
Right, nothing clean is really scored.
Again, each of these kickers must throw a minimum of 8 kicks above the waist. Both of those kicks eliminating each other.
2, Dave. Get him in.
Rod Key does not seem rustled at all. Seems very content.
He's making a dangerous error, though. You see that ducking down he's doing? Right now, he's slipping under those kicks, but if Dave can just start timing him a little bit, picking his shots, he may land one when Rod goes down like that.
In our first round here of the super featherweight division, Dave Johnston, the world champion, fighting against Rod Key. That's the end of our first round.
Right, I'd like to specify that Dave Johnston is the World Karate Association champion. And the World Karate Association is the only recognized association worldwide. It is recognized in Hong Kong, China, it's recognized in Korea, Japan, Thailand, the United States, Canada. Throughout the world, the World Karate Association is the only worldwide recognized sanctioning body in karate. And Dave Johnston, of course, is the champion.
More adept with his hands, he may have a better shot.
Right.
They pretty much have the same style.
I don't think he's going to score effectively with his feet against Dave Johnston. I think if he's going to do any damage, he's going to have to do it with his hands.
Second round underway. 2-minute round, 7 rounds for this bout.
The kickboxers actually throw fakes. They throw
Solid
fake
left
kicks,
kick.
and then they'll throw a combination.
7.
You can hear the corner man for Johnston yelling out numbers for combinations.
One of Johnston's weaknesses has been his lack of punching ability. As you can see, he really does not use those punches. Solid right hand that time. I think Johnston's hurt. I think he's hurt on that one.
7.
His eyes are clear.
A nice hook. Kickboxers definitely using their kicks as offense more than their fists.
Solid connection. I think Rod Key is hurt. If Johnston could move in, he could take him out.
Roundhouse tagging him, 2 roundhouses tagging him on the side of the face.
If Johnston could move in with his fist, I believe he could finish Key out.
Leg.
In the second round.
Body. Leg.
That was a spin wheel kick Johnston landed earlier. Seemed to stun Key for a moment. He's gotten it back together.
Seems the pace of this round is a little bit slower, John.
Yes, it is.
Boxers feeling each other out more this round than the first round.
Get in on the inside, Rod. Stay in there.
Seems that Johnston should have more confidence than he's really showing.
Well, I think he got hurt with that right hand a little earlier, and I think he's just being a little bit cautious right now.
Once again, Dave Johnston in the blue pants and Rod Key in the black. That's the end of round number 2.
I'm really surprised it's been as close as it has been, D. I'm really impressed with Rod Key's performance tonight.
It's been a good matchup so far, and Johnston, well, like you said, he got stung a little bit in that last round, and
I think he pulled back a little bit because of that.
but Johnston's pretty much, he has a past, a history of being a patient fighter. He's not too eager to get things over. He'll wait and feel the other guy out, and he's the world champion right now.
Right,
so
he's had a lot of success at that. If you'll notice Johnston's eyes, he is very alert, and he concentrates very specifically on his opponent's vulnerable areas. He'll look at the side of an opponent's face or his body and then unleash an unbelievably powerful kick in a second.
Johnston has been connecting it with his roundhouses.
Right, he's a very explosive fighter there. He'll watch and then explode.
Well, we'll see if he explodes this round. The third round starting underway. Rod Key again in the black, Dave Johnston in the blue. Fighters starting with their fists.
Johnston does a lot of holding on the inside.
Both boxers seem to show a lot of upper body strength, though. Backspin kick, a little clogged, but still landing.
He's definitely trying to take Key out with a kick.
Backspin kick effort by Key.
Not very effective. I think
Foiled by
Johnston slipped that one.
John, I'd like to hear your comments. I talked for referee Tom Schlesinger between bouts about the earlier bouts and the competition tonight. He said that the kicks were not focused, that they were kind of landing haphazardly, and that he thought of the main event here that we would see kicks that have better focus on them, more punch, more direct.
Yes, we saw some powerful kicks, but the caliber of the fighters earlier we're seeing here. These guys know where their kicks are going. Another back-legged roundhouse kick by Johnston. He is very, very adept at using that back leg.
3.
Now, when would you use a lead kick with your lead foot?
Either to score points or to set up that kick. That's one mistake I think Dave's making right now. He's throwing the power shots without any setup. There's no hands, there's no setup with the feet. He's just letting them go.
A nice back leg roundhouse and a back spin kick. Looks like it brushed him.
That's the one he landed earlier on. I think it had a little more juice on this one. If it had landed, that would have been it.
Rod Key taking a lot of punishment without showing it.
Yeah, I see a little swelling on Rod Key's right side of his head. No damage of any bleeding as yet. Key's making a big mistake. He's not throwing any techniques. He's doing all the catching. Dave's doing all the pitching. And he's going to have to change. He's going to have to change his style in the next few rounds to be effective. I think if Rod Key doesn't do something real quick to turn it around, it's going to go to Johnston.
It seems that in this particular fight, since their boxing styles are so similar, they're almost at a stalemate. Rod Key isn't experimenting with anything different or new. He's using the same tricks he did in the first round, and he's not really scoring that well. It seems like in order for Rod to be effective, he's going to have to change his game plan a little bit.
Yeah, he is. I'm not really sure he's had the experience necessary to do something like that. He's won 8 fights, and he's got 5 knockouts, but as you can see, he's not effectively using those hands on the inside. He's got to jam those kicks of Johnston's, move on the inside, and work that body and that head.
We talked earlier about the feet, the shoes that they're wearing and how padded they are. Is the top of the foot, is that padded a lot? When you get hit by the top of the foot, do you feel it, or does the padding absorb a lot of it?
You feel the concussion, but it's not bone-on-bone contact. So you don't get the contusions and the bleeding that you would get if that foot was not padded.
Leg kick, counter hand jab.
Now, see, in a situation like that, Key has to come in and use those hands right there. He's getting in dangerous territory with those kicks.
Well, he's still kicking him in the legs on this.
Yes, if he hits that knee, he'll be penalized.
Boxers tied up with their fists, but their feet were still going crazy. Johnston comes right back with a back leg roundhouse. And a back spin kick followed by another back spin kick. Not sure how effective, but they seem to be landing.
When those kicks land like they just did on the arms, they take a lot out of you. Even if they don't land on a clean body area, it wears those arms down. And you take those shots on the shoulders and forearms, it takes a lot out of a man.
Again, each boxer must throw a minimum of 8 kicks per round.
These guys aren't having any trouble keeping their kicks up, that's for sure.
One front.
Again, both boxers seem more comfortable with kicking strategy as opposed to using their fists.
Right, we don't have what would be a classic conflict of styles. We don't have boxer versus kicker here. We actually do have kicker versus kicker. You're right in that observation. It's kind of making a stalemate here. You got 2 guys kicking from long range, and there's no inside fighting.
Speaking of long range, our ring tonight is 17.5 feet by 17.5, and any regulation ring can go from 16 feet to 22 feet.
Right, these 2 guys would probably be more happy with a 20-foot ring than what they're fighting in right now.
Because of their long range style.
Right, they want a lot of room to move the kick, and they want to stay away from those ropes. It's practically impossible to throw an effective kick if you're back on the ropes. You got to get out in the center of that ring where you can move.
That's the end of our 4th round. Johnston still seems to be winning, but again, we don't really seem to have one clear advantage one way or another, a stalemate that we were talking about.
No, a lot of kicks are being thrown, hard kicks, but actually these kicks are not landing. Johnston has been throwing a lot of kicks over Key's head. They have not been landing. I think that if Johnston wants to be a little more effective with these kicks, he's going to have to lower them because Key is ducking down under him, and that's where his mistake's been. Johnston's throwing high kicks, Key's getting under him. He's got to lower those kicks a little bit to catch Key ducking down.
John, I know that noticed that Johnston was keeping his eyes on Key's waist while he was kicking. Why is that?
Right. Well, basically what you do is, if you have a fighter that's using his hands, you raise it up to about his solar plexus, and you use peripheral vision for his feet. But with a man like Rod Key, if you lower it down to about his waist or his stomach, you're getting most of his offensive techniques.
Round 5 underway, and the action starts quickly here with Rod Key coming out and throwing a kick that caught Johnston in the shin. Johnston with a backspin kick. Key definitely a little bit worse for wear here. Powerful backspin kick. Key coming right back. The best round we've seen so far.
That's the first punch that Johnston's landed right there. We've got 2 kickers out here tonight.
Maybe they should have a minimum 8 punch in this category.
Right.
This particular bout. We are in the 5th round. It's a 7-round bout. Now, Rod Key almost tripped him on that kick.
Now, that was a sweep. That's a good technique if Rod Key can keep that up. If he can sweep that front leg and move in with the hands, he'll be able to turn this fight around. If he sticks with this game plan he's got right now, he's not going to win.
So the kicking not only is for an offensive tool to land in the upper body, but also you can hit your opponent in the leg and knock him off balance and then hit him with other combinations.
Right. When you can...
such as the sweep.
Right. You sweep them or you kick the leg, you can knock them off balance and move right in. Follow up. See, that's what I was speaking of before. He's shooting those kicks a little too high. If he can lower that kick a little bit...
Roundhouse blocked effectively by Key, but again, punishment is being felt.
Key comes right back with 3 kicks of his own. This is really unusual. I'm not used to seeing this many kicks being thrown in a bout. Usually it's hands and feet.
Come on, Dave. That's that hook coming in, Dave. Right.
Exchange of blows.
Neither fighter really wanting to mix it up on the inside.
Referee once again, Tom Schlesinger. Our 3 judges, Bob Cheney, Ted Pryor, and Harry Heyman. D. David Morin ringside, along with Don Wilson and Jennifer Skiff. Bringing you the play-by-play here at the Cal Neva Hotel and Casino in the North Shore of Lake Tahoe. Well, the rounds are flying by us. They're end of our 5th round.
Right, and it's kind of settled into a pattern. Rod Key tentatively waiting, throwing kicks, but not scoring. Dave Johnston dominating, chasing, doing much of the scoring with his feet.
Don, I noticed that Johnston's manager seems to coach him right along throughout the bout, but Keys doesn't. How does this affect the boxing?
Well, it depends on the training of the fighter. I myself don't get any coaching during the course of a round. I get it when I sit down, because it's all I can do to be out there fighting without having to listen to somebody. But some fighters like to fight in a more of a disciplined robot-type style, where they hear a number. As you remember, you heard some numbers being called, and they throw the specific technique, whichever one is being called for. I myself don't fight that way, but some fighters, as Dave Johnston did.
Johnston's cornerman definitely yelling out 2, 7, different numbers for combination.
He must be hitting the right numbers, though. Johnston is a world champion in the super featherweight division, so I wonder if it would be to Key's advantage to have someone out here yelling numbers. I don't know. I think he better try something different.
I get the feeling that something's going to change here, Don. We've gone through 5 rounds now of pretty much the same static. We have 2 rounds left. I think something's going to break.
Combos.
Johnston has lowered those spin back kicks. If you notice, that one missed, but had Rod Key ducked down that time, he would have connected. He has lowered the spin back kick.
Yeah, he has lowered it. There's another example.
He's not going for the head as he was before.
2.
Counter punch. Come on.
Both these boxers in the super featherweight division.
That was a spin back fist.
Dave, crank it.
Wasn't much on it.
Rod Key.
Crank it, Dave. You need 2. Wander in now.
Straight left. Straight left.
Got 2 kicks, Dave.
But like I said before, Dave unable to throw a combination with his hands and move in. He scored a good straight left, but he didn't follow it up. I believe that was a glancing blow that time.
Neither boxer really using their lead hands to jab with. They're mostly just coming across with crosses. One of the reasons for the stalemate, Dave Johnston, a southpaw, and Rod Key, right-hander.
Right. Basically, in karate, some fighters switch southpaw and orthodox. When you're throwing that back leg round kick, it actually turns your body around and makes you an orthodox fighter.
Johnston looks to be ambidextrous out there.
Right. A lot of martial artists are. They fight both ways because their body gets thrown in all different kinds of positions out there.
Go for it. Let it go for it. Justo.
Rod Key, kind of an unknown commodity coming into this bout. And Johnston really having his hands and feet fill.
Yeah, he's winning the fight, but Rod Key's still in there, though. He's still in the fight. Anything can happen at this stage.
That's the end of the 6th round. Our 7th and last round still to come. You're Rod Key's cornerman. What are you telling him?
Well, I tell him to work that little technique he used a little bit earlier. Do you remember when he tried the sweep and came in with a punch? That seemed to work pretty well with him. Obviously, Rod Key is not the boxer that I thought he was, but looking at his upper body, I thought maybe he was a boxer or a karate man that specialized in his hand techniques. But actually, he's very similar to Dave Johnston. When he did use that sweep, though, he was able to capitalize and move in with the right hand. So if I was his corner man, I'd tell him to work the legs, move in, and try to get Johnston on the ropes.
You're the one that didn't bring him?
Or I would get somebody in this corner and start yelling numbers.
What's the combo? I keep hearing that yelled out. What is that?
Okay, that's 1, 2. It's more than one technique thrown in combination. Like a punch and a kick, 2 punches and a kick, 2 kicks and a punch. Martial artists mix up their feet and we call them combinations.
final round for the super featherweight division. Dave Johnston in the blue, Rod Key in the black. As we go into our final 2 minutes. Nice roundhouse kick landing by Johnston on Key. Key with a backspin attempt himself. Another backspin, another roundhouse by Johnston. Boy, these guys are kickers, Don.
They sure do. They're burning a lot of energy up there. When you lift that leg up and throw it out like these guys are, it takes a lot of energy out of it.
Johnston finally starting to connect with that backspin kick.
Come on, Dave.
You can see the wear and tear on Rod Key's body. His elbows are bruised. He's red on the shoulders. He's red everywhere.
It's puffy under the eyes as well.
Right. There hasn't been a lot of clean scoring in this fight, but like I said, when those kicks land on the body, they hurt.
One more kick.
Again, each cornerman concerned that their fighters get in the minimum amount of kicks, the 8-kick minimum count. Johnson almost off balance there, able to maintain. You would think the Key would go for the more of the sweeper kicks and just to get Johnston off balance enough to score something.
Right, because he's completely ineffective from this range. The only time he has landed any punches is after Johnston has moved in. He hasn't been able to close that gap.
We talked about kicking in back of the head as being legal. Can you punch someone in the back of the head?
Yes, you can. If he spins around, you can do it. But you can't get in the inside and just start hitting the back of the head.
But on a spin attempt, if you can land a jab or a cross on the back of the head, that is legal.
Right.
You can see some of the fatigue now settling in. 7 rounds at altitude. Both boxers are tired.
He looks like he's in a little bit of trouble.
Finally starting to get some combinations in. That's the end of the 7th round and the end of the bout. We'll wait for our official judge's decision momentarily.
I don't see any way they can give this one to Key. I think Johnston's got it by a landslide.
Johnston goes over and congratulates Rod Key. Jennifer, were you surprised at the evenness of this bout?
After the beginning, because at the beginning it looked like Johnston really knew what he was doing and he was really going after it, but Key had great stamina during the whole bout.
Right. I think Key's best quality is his ability to absorb punishment, because he took a lot in this fight. Not to put down the fighter. He's a young fighter. He's got a lot of future.
Yeah, we talked about the experience between these two. Johnston, boy, having 20 wins and Rod Key only having 8 wins coming into this. Experience was a difference.
Right, definitely. Johnston, the only mistake I can say that he made throughout the fight was not following up with his hands. He kept it outside, won on points, of course, but he could have finished the fight, I feel, if he could have moved in with some hand techniques.
Where does Rod Key go from now? What's his next techniques change or strategy change?
Well, for him, it was a good showing. To get the television exposure, of course, is always valuable. Also, to be in the ring with the world champion. Because from here on out, Rod Key can say he's been in with the best.
Yeah.
And he's gone the distance. So I think it was a good thing for him. I don't feel his corner overmatched him. He did go the distance, gave a fine showing, and he's got a bright future.
Still waiting for our officials' decision by our judges. Our 3 judges, once again, Bob Cheney, Ted Pryor, and Harry Heyman.
I'd like to make one comment about one of our judges. He is the world super middleweight champion, Ted Pryor, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And we're very glad to have him out here.
We have our official count in, and I'll make an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Our official scores are in, and it is a unanimous decision for Dave Johnston. I will get a few words from Dave.
He's gonna do another one.
We'll do a quick interview with you. D. David with Dave Johnston here in the ring. Dave, no problem keeping your title. Of course, this wasn't a title bout. But were you surprised with Rod Key?
He's a real gusto fighter. He stays with it. He can take a shot. Just what I expected. Real good.
It seemed that both of you almost kind of had a stalemate. The first round you came in and you were real aggressive. Second round you kind of took a few steps back and it went the distance. That surprised me.
A little more respect for him. That's about it. It was a good 7 rounds. I really appreciate it, and the exposure is real good, and I hope to see everyone again. Do it again here real soon.
It seemed that both of you were much more kick-oriented than fist-oriented. Did that surprise you?
I'm a kicker all the way. I need to use my hands a little more. Yeah, he was.
All right, well, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Dave Johnston, the winner of that bout against Rod Key. Super featherweight champion, Dave Johnston.